Tonight, we're taking your questions about the coronavirus crisis straight to Indiana lawmakers on a special In Focus Coronavirus Town Hall, as we hear from Senators Mike Braun and Todd Young, and our U.S. representatives from the 2nd District, Jackie Walorski, 3rd District Rep. Jim Banks, from the 4th District, Jim Baird, 5th District Rep. Susan Brooks, from the 6th District, Greg Pence, 7th District Rep. Andre Carson, 8th District Representative Larry Bouchon, and 9th District Representative Trey Hollingsworth. And it all starts now on a special edition of In Focus. And good evening and welcome to In Focus, a coronavirus town hall. I'm Dan Spieler.
And I'm Fanchon Stinger. So glad you're with us tonight.
And I'm Beershel Admay. Now tonight, we are broadcasting this program live in 71 counties all across the Hoosier State, reaching nearly 5 million households.
Indiana's congressional delegation is joining us virtually to answer your questions. We are talking to 8 of your House representatives, as well as Senator Mike Braun, joining us live from Jasper tonight.
Earlier in the day, I also spoke with Senator Todd Young about the impact coronavirus has had in our communities and a look ahead at the road to recovery.
Now, before we begin, let's get you caught up on today's developments. Indiana is now reporting 17,800 confirmed coronavirus cases. Sadly, 1,700 Hoosiers have died, all because of this virus, with another 107 presumed coronavirus deaths. The state reports more than 94,000 Hoosiers have been tested, with nearly 19% of people testing positive. Now, today, we also learned at least 65,000 people applied for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program right here in Indiana. It is a topic that a lot of our viewers asked about, and we will be tackling that issue with your representatives in Congress in just minutes. Fanchon?
Well, Beershel, Vice President Mike Pence paying a visit to Indiana today. He was in Kokomo checking in on ventilator production at the GM plant there. He started out with a tour of the facility, getting a first-hand look at how the workers were able to quickly shift to making those ventilators. He told the employees today he is proud to see the work they are doing.
Being among people who put together this plant in 17 days and produced the first ventilator in 3 days, and in less than a month have produced 600 ventilators for the American people, I couldn't be more inspired.
After that tour, the vice president held a roundtable discussion with GM and Ventec, that's the medical device company helping to produce the ventilators. GM's expected to have more than 6,000 available by June.
Well, let's begin our conversation right now with Senator Mike Braun. The vice president here today, as Fanchon just mentioned, the vice president wearing a mask at times, thanking everyone at GM for producing those ventilators. He said, quote, "We will get through this." Senator, how long will it take for our country to get through this crisis?
So we've been home from D.C. since March 26th, and look at what we've seen across the country. Saw the horrific results of what happens when you are blindsided by it in New York and New Jersey. But I think that I'm especially proud of Hoosiers in many states that we're watching. And I've talked to so many business owners across the state that know that you got to take this thing seriously. I had to weigh in on some issues at processing plants, put a letter out to Secretary of Agriculture Perdue about making sure that canned goods are treated in a way so we have food security. So this has affected the entire country. But when I look at what we've done here in Indiana, we've taken the disease seriously. We were one of the potential hotspots due to the Indy metro area being in the top 15. And I think we've done a great job. And what gives me confidence, and what I talked about even before leaving DC with a couple floor speeches, is this is going to be the most important part, because we cannot backslide on the disease. Yet we've got to be entrepreneurial in trying to get this economy restarted. And I think that's done. Each governor knows the lay of the land. I think it's county by county, state by state across our country. And I'm confident that individuals, workers, business owners are prepared to stay disciplined and stick with what we know we need to do through this new normal, to where we get a vaccine, we get therapies that are now looking like they're going to be on stream soon. A vaccine maybe sooner than what we thought. but we got to stay disciplined until we get this in the rearview mirror.
Senator, next we do want to get to a question from one of our viewers. Michael from Indianapolis asks, how are you working in a bipartisan manner right now to remove politics and focus on results for Hoosiers?
Well, to be honest, in the little over a year that I've been there, I saw the most of that occur on trying to reform health care, because we know what a hot issue that was prior to coronavirus coming along, and we know how it's stressed our system currently. I had not seen in the work that we put together through the task groups, and I was a member of the small business task group in terms of giving input to it. And over the span of a weekend, we crafted, that phase 3 package. It did get interrupted by some extraneous items that were attempted to get added to it. It delayed it 3 days, but still it was an example of how it can work. And I think now that we've got that done and we plussed up the PPP part of it, added more money for testing, also for the hospital system, healthcare system, when we get back, it's to address, I think, errors and omissions and anything else where there's been disproportionate effect from it. But I'm a believer that to go forward from here, it's mostly about a smart restart of our economy. And I think we're prepared to do it, because I don't think the federal government can be a good substitute for what we've had to replace in the economy in the attempt to tamp down the disease.
Another question here from your constituents. Patricia from Indy sent this question for you specifically. She says, considering you are a small business owner, what are you doing to help our state's business owners?
So that's been, for me, started a business back in the early 80s, was CEO of it for 37 years. 3 of my 4 kids run it. It's a larger enterprise now. I'm actually in my wife's store 42 years in our downtown. Every business here was considered non-essential. They were grateful here about 2.5 weeks ago they could do curbside or takeout. What I've been trying to get across to anybody that wants to help through government, small businesses did not necessarily have the lines of credit. They did not have the cash reserves. Many people that run small businesses live out of them. I was disappointed in the first round of the PPP that we didn't have the rules and guidance that were going to help the smallest of the small. I think fix that in our 3.5. I'll be especially attentive to that when I mentioned any errors and omissions, anything we might do marginally. That benefit of having been a small business owner for my entire career before I became a senator has been valuable.
We want to get 1 or 2 more questions in quickly if we can. We've heard from some employees who are now only working part-time. They still can't make ends meet. Today, state officials said part-time employees would be able to get partial unemployment, but for some that might not be enough. Some have been having a hard time getting the federal unemployment portion. What benefits or solutions could you offer some of these part-time workers?
So part-time workers have had some difficulty. What we did was on that first round, phase 3, had some issues, and we got into a little scrap right before that was done about creating disincentives to come back to work. But for the ones that are having trouble accessing it, and for part-time employees, I think if you're running into any issue whatsoever that is trying to access something that will help you, make sure you get a hold of my staff, Todd's, or any one of the congressmen or women. You're not going to have any real solution for what ails certain parts of this economy until we get busy on reopening it. And we cannot, through government, comprehensively cover all the dislocations that have been created to rightly tamp down the disease. So my focus from here forward is going to be to keep all the discipline in place, but be very energetic about rolling this economy back into place to where you can get those part-time jobs back and make sure that business owners and employees adhere to the rules so that we can keep them open and not have to backslide and maybe shutter some business that didn't pay attention to the new rules.
Well, Senator, we certainly appreciate you joining us here and answering the questions for so many of our viewers.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Senator.
You're welcome.
Governor Holcomb appears to be getting ready to reopen parts of our economy. The Senate could be going back to work as soon as next week. Earlier today, I spoke with Senator Todd Young and asked him, are we ready? And what's your message to those who worry it's too soon to reopen?
Commendably, here at the state level, our executives, the president and the governor have ensured that our public health officials have been out front in informing their public responses, their policy responses. And our objective is to ensure that everyone gets back to work and resume some semblance of normalcy as quickly as possible. And I think that here in the state of Indiana, we're sticking that landing. You see varying approaches across the country and even within states, in certain states, to the protocols that are in place in terms of going back to work and resuming some semblance of normalcy.
As you get set to return to D.C., can lawmakers safely do their jobs in the middle of this crisis? And what measures will you be pushing when you do return to help Hoosiers get through all of this? Will we need to see another round of relief for small businesses?
Well, I would never certainly knowingly put my staff at risk, and that's why we're operating with a skeleton crew. Make no mistake, every single member of the Young Senate team is working 7 days a week. They're working hard, responding to calls and emails, but people are not in our office. Instead, they're working from home. As I'm speaking to you now from my kitchen table, they're working the phones, and we will be operating to the extent we are having a couple of individuals, my chief of staff, maybe the head of my policy team. We're going to be social distancing from a great direction in my DC office. So I know that other offices are adopting similar practices. And as it comes to interaction between individual senators, I know that when we have our lunches and discuss policies, we'll be separated from one another. And my expectation is when we go onto the Senate floor and vote for nominees of the president who are essential to responding to this coronavirus situation in a bold fashion, that our votes are cast in a sequential fashion or in some fashion that doesn't lend itself to human transmission of COVID should somebody unknowingly be symptomatic.
We saw a number of House lawmakers wearing masks recently. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said last week he favors allowing states struggling with pension crisis to declare bankruptcy instead of giving them a federal bailout. He's faced some backlash because of those remarks. Do you think we should allow states to go bankrupt, or could that lead to other problems?
You know, I think that he was trying to make a serious policy point about not using the current situation as an excuse to bail a state out for decisions that were made ill-advised decisions prior to the pandemic. An example would be our neighbor, the state of Illinois, which really for decades has been dealing in false promises to their citizens, telling their hardworking public safety employees and others that their pensions were fully funded, when in fact they weren't. And so it shouldn't be the responsibility of the people of Indiana, for example, to pay for those false promises. Hoosiers had good enough sense to elect people that balanced our budget, developed a rainy day fund for the rainiest of days. And so I think that was the majority leader's point of emphasis. We do need to come up with some kind of mechanism for these states, short of a federal bailout, to be able to make these employees whole. And so that's a serious conversation we're going to have moving forward.
We want to bring you some questions from our viewers as part of this town hall format tonight, this virtual town hall. First on the topic of preparedness, Ann Pointer from Westfield asks, what have we learned over the past few months and what changes should be made to be better prepared in the future as a household, community, state, and as a country?
It's a great question, and we've learned that we need to make ourselves more resilient as it relates to our ability to draw on stockpiles of essential personal protective equipment, test kits, and other areas. So that means we don't have to wait until something like this hits, but instead we will have enough supplies really to get us up and running in short order. This has been a challenge for decades. In fairness, and so this is why I really commend our governors and the private sector for manufacturing many of these things that we didn't have on hand. We also have to be less reliant on countries who don't share our values, China in particular. We cannot be in the future, in the next pandemic situation, reliant on a communist dictatorship for our essential supply. So we're going to be rethinking the supply chains and identifying those items that are essential to keep the American people safe and secure in similar circumstances.
One more question on preparedness. Susan Edmondson from Terre Haute asks, can you respond to concerns about a possible pandemic being included in the president's daily intel briefings earlier this year and whether they were ignored? She asks, should Congress look into that question?
I don't have any visibility into that. I think that because those reports are highly classified, that's a matter that our Intelligence Committee will likely be looking into if they haven't already been doing so.
You mentioned the supply chain. A lot of concern right now about the food supply and about the safety of meat packing plants with hundreds of cases in Cass County. So Ann Crump of Indianapolis asks, for meat packing plants that are closing because of COVID outbreaks in their plants, why is the government only offering suggested safety measures, she asks, instead of mandatory safety measures for those plants to stay open?
Well, I think the president has been very careful to respect the prerogatives of the states. So Centers for Disease Control and the Department of Labor have very quickly and I think conscientiously promulgated rules to keep our workers safe in those types of settings, and then leaving it up to states and localities to deal with things. When there is something that reaches a level of national importance in the judgment of the president, that is a national emergency sort of situation, like a lack of food or protein, that's when the president has the ability to invoke the Defense Production Act, which is what he did in this case.
All right, got a couple more questions for you that we'll see later on tonight. Senator Todd Young, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Over the last few days, we've received hundreds of your questions from you, the viewers. And next, we are taking those questions straight to your House representatives.
We're going to talk about financial assistance for minority and women-owned businesses. Plus, could we have been better prepared for a crisis like this one?
And before we do take you to break, we want to share some positive news too. Firefighters out in Avon went out of their way to build this deck here for a family and their terminally ill son. All they wanted was to have a graduation party for their 18-year-old son, Chase. But coronavirus, well, it had other plans. So the firefighters tell us they were happy to make their day just a little bit brighter.